NEC Section 110.16 requires that where an electric arc flash hazard exists, the equipment shall be distinctly marked with a clearly visible warning label. The inspector's interpretation is that the warning label should be visible without opening the hinge door of the panel board lid. The manufacturer's decision to place the label on the back of the hinge door suggests that they intended it to be visible when the door is opened, which is a common maintenance and troubleshooting scenario. While the inspector's desire for enhanced visibility is understandable, it is important to consider the practicalities of the situation. The label may not be easily visible or accessible when the panel board lid is closed, especially in crowded or dimly lit areas. Opening the panel board lid to access the label may pose a greater safety risk by exposing the maintenance personnel to the arc flash hazard. The manufacturer's design is likely intended to balance visibility and safety concerns. Here's a recommended solution. Firstly, discuss with the inspector. Explain the manufacturer's rationale for placing the label on the back of the hinge door. Discuss alternative options for enhanced visibility, such as placing an additional label on the outside of the panel board lid or using a more prominent warning color. Secondly, seek NEC clarification. Contact the NEC code-making panel or an authoritative source to obtain a formal interpretation regarding the visibility requirement for arc flash warning labels. Thirdly, consider safety mitigation. Implement engineering controls to reduce the arc flash hazard, such as arc flash protective equipment, also known as PPE, and remote racking devices. Provide training to maintenance personnel on the specific hazards and safe work practices associated with the equipment. It's important to delve into the specifics of arc flash hazards, warning label requirements, and potential solutions. Arc flash is a dangerous phenomenon that occurs when an electrical fault creates an arc of electricity through the air. This arc can generate extremely high temperatures, intense light, and a pressure wave, posing significant risks to personnel and equipment. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, addresses arc flash hazards in Section 110.16, mandating that equipment be distinctly marked with a clearly visible warning label where such a hazard exists. The purpose of this requirement is to alert qualified personnel to the potential danger and ensure they take appropriate precautions before working on or near energized equipment. The placement of the arc flash warning label is crucial for its effectiveness. While the NEC doesn't explicitly define what constitutes clearly visible, the intent is that the label should be readily noticeable to qualified personnel under normal working conditions. The inspector's interpretation is that the label should be visible without opening the panel board lid, reflecting a desire for maximum safety and immediate awareness of the potential hazard. On the other hand, the manufacturer's decision to place the label on the back of the hinge door suggests a different approach. Their rationale might be that the label is primarily intended for personnel who are actively engaged in maintenance and troubleshooting activities, which typically involve opening the panel board lid. In this scenario, the label would be visible at the point when the worker is most likely to be exposed to the arc flash hazard. Several factors influence the optimal placement of arc flash warning labels. These include the physical layout of the electrical equipment, the ambient lighting conditions, and the frequency and type of maintenance activities performed. In crowded or dimly lit areas, a label on the inside of the panel board door might be easily overlooked. Conversely, a label on the outside of the door might be more susceptible to damage or vandalism. Opening the panel board lid to access the label may inadvertently expose personnel to the arc flash hazard, especially if they are not wearing appropriate personal protective equipment or PPE. It's essential to balance the need for visibility with the goal of minimizing potential exposure to the hazard. In situations where there is disagreement between the electrical inspector and the facility owner or operator, it's important to engage in constructive dialogue to find a mutually acceptable solution. Here are some potential strategies. Firstly, explain the manufacturer's rationale for placing the label on the back of the hinge door. The manufacturer likely considered various factors, including safety standards, industry best practices, and the intended use of the equipment when deciding on the label placement. Understanding their reasoning can help the inspector appreciate the potential trade-offs involved. Secondly, discuss alternative options for enhanced visibility. Instead of simply insisting on placing a label on the outside of the panel board lid, explore alternative solutions that could achieve the same goal without compromising safety or aesthetics. For example, you could propose using a larger, more prominent label, or using a label with reflective material that is easier to see in low light conditions. Thirdly, consider adding a second label to the outside of the paddleboard lid. This would provide an immediate warning to anyone approaching the equipment, while the original label on the inside of the door would serve as a reminder during maintenance activities. Fourthly, use a more prominent warning color. The NEC doesn't specify a particular color for arc flash warning labels, but using a bright, attention-grabbing color like orange or yellow can help to increase visibility. Fifthly, consult with other experts. If you are unable to reach an agreement with the inspector, consider seeking input from other qualified professionals such as electrical engineers, safety consultants, or representatives from the NEC code-making panel. Their expertise can help to clarify the requirements of the code and identify potential solutions. In addition to discussing the issue with the inspector, it's also advisable to seek clarification from authoritative sources. Contacting the NEC code-making panel is one option. The code-making panel is responsible for developing and updating the NEC, and they can provide formal interpretations of the code's requirements. Keep in mind that obtaining a formal interpretation can be a time-consuming process, so it's important to plan ahead. Another option is to consult with other recognized experts in the field of electrical safety, such as professional engineers, safety consultants, or representatives from organizations like the National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA, or the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, or IEE. These individuals can provide valuable insights and guidance based on their knowledge and experience. Ultimately, the goal is to find a solution that complies with the NEC, enhances safety, and addresses the concerns of all stakeholders. In addition to addressing the warning label issue, it's also important to implement engineering controls to reduce the arc flash hazard itself. Engineering controls are measures that are designed to eliminate or minimize the risk of arc flash incidents. Some common engineering controls include, firstly, arc flash protective equipment, or PPE. Arc flash PPE includes items such as arc-rated clothing, gloves, face shields, and helmets that are designed to protect workers from the intense heat and energy of an arc flash. It's important to ensure that all personnel who work on or near energized equipment are properly trained in the use of arc flash PPE. Secondly, remote racking devices. Remote racking devices allow workers to operate circuit breakers and other electrical equipment from a safe distance, reducing their exposure to the arc flash hazard. Thirdly, current limiting devices. Current limiting devices, such as fuses and circuit breakers, are designed to quickly interrupt the flow of current during a fault, limiting the energy released in an arc flash. Fourthly, high-resistance grounding. High-resistance grounding systems limit the ground fault current, reducing the likelihood of an arc flash. Fifthly, arc flash relays. Arc flash relays are specialized devices that detect the presence of an arc flash and quickly trip the circuit breaker, minimizing the duration and severity of the event. Finally, regular maintenance and testing. Regular maintenance and testing of electrical equipment can help to identify and correct potential problems before they lead to an arc flash incident. In addition to implementing engineering controls, it's also essential to provide comprehensive training to maintenance personnel on the specific hazards and safe work practices associated with the equipment. This training should cover topics such as arc flash awareness, hazard assessment, the proper use of PPE, and safe work procedures. It's also important to ensure that workers are qualified to perform the tasks they are assigned and that they understand the potential consequences of their actions. Training should be regularly updated to reflect changes in technology, regulations, and best practices. Proper documentation is essential for ensuring compliance with safety regulations and for providing a record of the measures that have been taken to mitigate arc flash hazards. Documentation should include items such as arc flash hazard assessments, single-line diagrams, equipment specifications, maintenance records, and training records. It's also important to document any deviations from standard procedures or any unusual conditions that may exist. Documentation should be readily accessible to all personnel who need it. In summary, addressing arc flash hazards requires a multifaceted approach that includes proper warning labels, engineering controls, training, and documentation. While the inspector's concern for enhancing visibility is valid, the practicalities of the situation and the manufacturer's design should be taken into account. A reasonable compromise that balances both safety and visibility is recommended. By working together, electrical inspectors, facility owners, and maintenance personnel can create a safer working environment for everyone.